questions in. Send those questions in. Get them in, you lazy bastards. It is Sunday, July the 23rd, 2023, 3:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What do you want to talk about? You got a question for me? You got a question you've always been wanting to ask? A burning question with a burning answer? Well, maybe there's a burning answer. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a weak answer. Maybe it'll be the answer you didn't want. Maybe it'll be the answer you couldn't stand. Or maybe it'll be the answer you've always wanted. Sunday, July the 23rd. Did you see Barbie? Did you see Oppenheimer? They're making a movie called Barbieheimer. No, they're not, but I think they should. About a Barbie doll that creates the atomic bomb. Or about an Oppenheimer doll. Oppenheimer Barbie doll. Yes, 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 ladies and gentlemen, yes. What are you saying yes for? I don't know. Smash that like button, you lazy bastards. It's free. Come on, smash it. Isn't that what people say? Smash it. Smash that like button. Hit that notification bell. Hit the subscribe button. No, what do they say? I don't even know what people say. Is it smash that notification button? Smash that like button? No, smash the subscribe button? I know smash is in there somewhere. People say smash. Smash that notification. Smash that like button. Just annihilate that like button. Annihilate it. I want to see it annihilated right now. Just completely blow that fucking like button out of the water. Just drop an Oppenheimer on that like button right now. Drop a gigantic Oppenheimer on that like button right now. Look at that. I see it going up. I see the nukes. I see the nukes going up right now. This is it. I'm telling you, man, just smash it. Just blow it up. In 10, 9, 8. Come on! It's free, goddammit!
No, I don't want to do it because you've told me to do it. I'll do it on my own time.
It's like cats. You know, cats are great. As a cat, come here.
No, I'll come on my own time, thank you.
Anyway. Oppenheimer, Barbieheimer. Barbie. Yeah, I thought I'd jump on. It's Sunday afternoon. Thought I'd jump on for a Q&A. We'll see who rolls on in this afternoon. All Q&A. I don't have a topic. My McCrae Lives are where I have the topics that I talk about for 20 or 30 minutes, and then I go over to the Q&A. Q&As are just Q&As right from the get-go. So let's jump over and see if anybody cares. What's going on? Demia says, Dima, is that how you say it? How did you get started in voice acting? I believe I have the vocal ability to start and would love a beginning point. Well, I've talked about it on my channel before. I think what I'm going to do at some point is I'm going to do, because I have talked about it, but maybe I'll do like a 10 or 15 minute video, have it on my channel so it's something I can point people to. Let me just say that, how did I get started in voice acting? Well, it's very important to remember that one of the biggest misconceptions about voice acting is that it has everything to do with the sound of your voice. That if you have a great voice, you will be successful. That's what people are looking for, people with great voices. Well, that can be part of it. I mean, if you have a sexy voice or a radio voice or a nice sounding voice or a soothing voice, sure. I mean, that can help, it can help in a specific situation perhaps, but that doesn't mean you're going to be successful at voiceover or voice acting, right? There are voice actors out there right now that have great voices, but are struggling to make any sort of career out of it. There are voice actors out there right now that have average voices, just like there's nothing really special about their voice at all, that are hugely successful. And part of the reason for that is because voice acting, even if you're not doing animation cartoons, maybe you're doing, radio and television commercials, network promos, narration, corporate training videos, whatever the case is, you're always playing some sort of fictional version of yourself at the very least, right? It really is about your acting and performing abilities. It's acting, right? It's acting. It's just behind a microphone, especially when it comes to cartoons and animation, right? It's not about just doing funny voices. Hey, blah, 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 blah. It's not just about that. It's about creating a whole character with that voice, right? It's about creating a character. Like what does, anybody can do funny voices, but to build a three-dimensional character within that voice is completely different. Right? Completely different. So it really is about your acting and performing abilities. So I often tell newbies to, if you've never taken an acting class in your life, take an acting class. Learn the art of acting. Learn the art of performing. Become a better actor. Learn how to step out of your comfort zone. Take an improv class, right? Those are a lot of fun as well. And learn acting and performing. Become a better actor. And then maybe think about doing that transition to voiceover. I'm not saying that's the only way one can become successful. I'm just saying that it is a common thing that you will often hear because it really is about acting and performing. So I come from, me personally, to give you the cliff notes, I come from I grew up in a media family. My father, who passed away 12 years ago, was one of Canada's top writers for many, many years. And so I grew up in a media family, very much ingrained into the television, radio, that kind of thing. I had my first on-air radio experience when I was 13 years old because my dad had a commentary he did on a radio station called 54 Rock many years ago. It's now defunct. Actually, well, it's defunct and it's changed to something else. But he would do a commentary on there every morning. And one morning he let me do the commentary. And so that was my first on-air radio experience. And I would do audio tapes as a kid. I would play all, types of characters. I was very familiar with my voice, my vocal abilities, all that kind of stuff. I come from a very extroverted, performing family. My dad, as I said, in media, journalism, very outgoing, hosted his own shows, all that kind of stuff. So I come from that background. I was born into, I'm not a shy person. I'm an extroverted person. I have introverted things about me, but certainly I'm a performer. I'm a host. I'm that kind of thing, right? So I wanted to be a filmmaker very early on. That's why I went to film school. Love movies. What a shock! Here we are talking about movies, and so I didn't graduate from film school. I did learn a lot though, but I left after, was it 2 years? It was 2 years. And I decided to pursue an on-camera acting career because I love acting and performing. I have a diploma in acting. I was a part of an improv team years and years ago. And so I wanted to get into on-camera acting. So I got an agent. This is like at the turn of the century. Got an agent and was pursuing acting, did some docudramas, some commercials, things like that. And then I got into voiceover because I had broke my teeth years and years ago. And so I had to be on hiatus for a little bit. And then I got into the voiceover, which was a natural transition for me because I was already doing voiceover anyway when I was in college. I hosted a radio show on the college radio station. I was the voice of the college radio station. And I was very familiar with doing voiceovers and all that kind of stuff. And so it just was a natural transition for me. And I fell into the voiceover, became full-time around 2006. And I haven't looked back and I've had great success at it. So there is no one single path to it. All I can say is just study acting, learn the art of acting, and become a better actor, and then think about pursuing voiceover. Let me see. A very, very generous super chat of $49.99 comes in from Brandon Berry. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate that, man. Says, hey, Dave, finally saw Oppenheimer in IMAX 75 millimeter. Amazing. Broke, but finally saw it just in 70 millimeter. Oh, wait, hang on. Hey, Dave, finally saw Oppenheimer. Finally, IMAX 70 millimeter broke. Oh, the 70 millimeter broke. Oh, so you were in the theater and it broke? Oh, fuck. But finally saw it in just 70 millimeter. Was amazing. Not what I expected for 3 hours of dialogue, but was happy to see Josh Hartnett back in a big movie. Hopefully to see him more. Yeah. That sucks, man. If that's what you're saying, sucks. That fucking sucks. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I just saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny just last Tuesday. Finally got around to seeing that. I'm going to do a video, not a live thing, but I'll upload a pre-recorded video on my channel, just kind of giving my thoughts on it. And, but I just saw the Dial of Destiny, so I haven't seen Oppenheimer or Barbie yet, but I do want to see them both. I have heard that it's a biopic. I mean, it's very dialogue heavy. It's not action packed. It's not about, nuclear bombs. It's not that kind of movie. Really, what Oppenheimer is about is it's more of a philosophical film, even though that really did happen. I mean, the United States really did drop 2 A-bombs on, Japan, which essentially ended the war. That is true. That all is true. But it's really about the philosophical questions of what it means. Where are we going now? Oh my God, what are we doing? Holy fucking shit, this is going to change the world. War will never be the same again. If we were to do this again, what the fuck does this mean? Holy shit. And to get lost in those conversations with great performances and great actors, it's the psychological, you get into it and you start to fill in those blanks and start to think about those things like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? And if the performances are really great and it's well edited and it's well paced and the drama is really high, you know what I mean? You as an audience member, despite the fact that there's no, explosion and it's not an action movie, you get lost in the drama of it, right? Of what it all means, what's going to happen. Holy fucking shit, Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And obviously Oppenheimer is not the first movie to be like that, but that's what I hear. It's the kind of movie it is. And I think it will definitely jive with a certain audience for sure. I could see myself watching this movie and being like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some people that just, for whatever reason, are hoping that it's just a nuclear bomb being dropped every 5 seconds. They want more action. They want more of the payoff. When really that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is it's the intensity of what the fuck are we doing? Do you know what I mean? And it really did happen. And we've never had a nuclear bomb dropped in war. Obviously, there have been tests, but used in war ever since. And dare I say, we are trying to avoid that at all costs because, and I'm sure, I don't know if they mentioned this in the movie because obviously it's a period piece, but maybe they mentioned it in some text at the end or something. I don't know. But I do know now that obviously between the US and Russia and China and, the nuclear weapons that we have now are something like, this is a number I'm pulling out of my ass, but it's something like, 10 times even more massive and powerful than what, Fat Boy and Little Guy or whatever the name of the bombs were. The bombs we have now, the nuclear bombs we have now are something like, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, whatever it is, even more powerful than those bombs. And it's like, fuck. Do you know what? Can you imagine now? Woo! You know what I'm saying? It's fucking crazy. So, I tend to, I haven't seen it yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to get caught up in the drama of it and the philosophical sort of nature of it. You know what I mean? But that's what I hear. I hear it's pretty hopefully it's pretty good. And Barbie, I'm looking forward to seeing Barbie, and I've heard some people say, or not heard some people say. I should see that I've been scrolling and I've seen something.
It's very feminism. It's kind of woke,
and I'm like, it's a fucking Barbie movie. Why are grown ass men complaining that a Barbie movie is about feminism? It's Barbie, guys. Come on, pick your battles, man. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing Barbie. I think it'll be fun. Let me see. Antonis Antriotis sends in $5, says, did you see the Exorcist Believer trailer? And if so, what'd you think? No spoilers, please. Okay, so the Exorcist Believer trailer, as far as I know, hasn't been officially released yet. I know it was bootlegged in some Reddit post. Let me just do a quick Google search here. The Exorcist Believer trailer. Let me just see here. No, it would come up immediately. So it has not been officially released yet. Okay. It has not been officially released online by the studio, but I did see the, really crappy, shitty smartphone footage of it, and I will reserve my thoughts on it for when the trailer gets officially released, and then I will do probably McRae Live on it. So I will reserve that for that. But I did see the really crappy cell phone version of it, but I want to see the non-crappy cell phone version of it before I make up my mind. Joseph Aaron sends in $2. Thank you, Joseph, and says, watch Psycho 2 for the first time and it was great. Wasn't it? As far as sequels go, Psycho 2 is pretty good. It's pretty good. I like Psycho 2 as well. Chris sends in a very generous chat of $20, a generous super chat, I should say, of $20. Thank you, Chris. And says, hey, Dave, can you say how you enjoyed Indy 5 as Harrison Ford Indiana Jones fan versus a filmmaker? Anything you do different? Most favorite part? Well, I don't want to get into deep specifics here because, again, I'm going to upload a video where I talk about my thoughts on Indiana Jones 5. There are a few things I think I might have done a bit differently, but I kind of want to save that for the video. I will just say this in a general sense. I liked the movie. I did. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know that video that I uploaded like almost a month ago where I was, talking about how it's probably going to be this and this and this and this, that and this. And if we can if we can all walk out going, yeah, this is fine. You know what I mean? Then, it's a win. That's exactly what it was. Was it unnecessary? Well, sure. Is it better than the original 3? Well, no. But is it the catastrophic dumpster fire? Oh, total woke bullshit all over the place. The worst movie of all time. Absolutely garbage. Oh my God, it is terrible. No. The hyperbolic nonsense of these thumbnails from the culture war, channels is just, it's just that. It's just to get you riled up and to get you to click on them and go, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's that groupthink confirmation bias thing. Look, and again, it's not that some of these culture war channels don't have valid points, but I'd be honest with you. I'd be honest with you. Right? If I thought Indiana Jones 5 was a complete pile of dumpster fire dog shit and nothing but woke nonsense, I would tell you. I'd say, yeah, no, it was garbage. It was garbage. No, it wasn't. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't woke nonsense. No, it wasn't. And I'll talk more about that when I upload my video. Was it as good as Raiders? Well, no, of course not. Was it as good as Last Crusade? Well, no. Temple? Well, no. And there's reasons for that. But I enjoyed it more than I did Crystal Skull. And I will say this, and I'll talk about it again in the video. I had no issues with that de-aging. That de-aging was fucking phenomenal. I don't know what crack people are smoking going, it was awful. It took me out of it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was incredible. It was incredible. Anyway, I'll talk about that more in the video. But thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, buddy. Ian Rapash. Is that how you say that, Ian? Ian Rapash sends in $4.99. Thank you, Ian. Says, Exorcist trailer was not that bad. You can tell it's made by people who love the original. Hopefully David Gordon Green pulls through on this one. Well, we'll see. Again, I'm going to do more than likely a McRae Live on it when it gets officially released. I gather after the weekend, probably this week. And I'll talk about it then. But, look, Universal spent $400 million. I think it was Universal spent $400 million on the rights to 3 Exorcist movies. So this is the first of potentially a trilogy. And, when you look at David Gordon Green, and this is just my opinion, of course, but when you look at David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy, I think the strongest film out of those 3 is the first one, Halloween 18. I think it's the best one out of those 3. Maybe this will follow a similar. I hope not. I hope all 3 are great, or I hope I like all 3. But I will say that I wasn't a big fan of kills, and I wasn't a big fan of ends. And 18, I think is. And again, I'm not over the moon with 18 either. But I think out of those 3, 18 is the strongest out of the 3. And maybe a similar path will follow, that the Exorcist believer will be like, you know what, that was pretty good. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it'll get some flack from people, but then they'll do The Exorcist kills and The Exorcist ends, you know, and maybe they'll, I don't know, we'll look back at The Exorcist believer and be like, oh, actually it was pretty, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm always pulling for movies to be good. But again, I'll give my thoughts on it when the trailer officially releases. I don't like to talk about bootleg trailers from smartphones and crappy lighting because I'm not seeing it in 4K or at the very least HD. I'm not seeing all of the nuances and the details. I'm seeing it crooked on a slant with some guy's head that pops into view every now and then. And it's like, no, I want to fucking see this the way it was meant to be seen, and then I will give my thoughts on the trailer. But that's me. Okay, scrolling down here. Got that. Ian Rapash. $10 super chat comes in from Amadusius. Sends in $10. Says, hey, Dave, I saw in the chat a question from Luke 2014, a 9-year-old fan of you met in Arizona. Yes, that's right. I think is he 9? I thought Luke was a little older than that. He had a question for you, but it wasn't a super chat, so I wanted to send one so he might get your attention. Yes, no, I know about Luke for sure. Yeah, I didn't see Luke here. I was scrolling down. Appreciate that very much. Let's go back here and see if we can get Luke. Where is Luke? There's Luke right there. So, oh, okay, he is 9. I thought you were older than 9, Luke, but hey, 9's a good number. 9's my favorite number. Luke says, the 9-year-old fan who met you at Mad Monster. Yes, I know who you are, Luke. Wanted to ask what your favorite Conjuring movie is. Thank you, and I hope you were doing great. Well, thank you, Luke. I hope you're doing well, too. My favorite's the first Conjuring. I like the Conjuring, too. I don't mind it. I think it's a solid follow-up. I feel about The Conjuring 2 like how I feel about Insidious 2. Not quite as good as the first one, but solid. You got James Wan in there, who's directing and all that. But the first The Conjuring, I think, is the first Conjuring film, released in 2013, dare I say, is even a modern horror classic. Now, when I say modern, I mean this century. I think it's one of the best studio-released horror movies. There's lots of independent horror movies, that don't get released by the mainstream studios, or that you discover and wow, that are absolutely fucking incredible. But as far as like a mainstream Hollywood polished sheen studio released horror movie, and generally speaking, those are I think out of the last 20 years, I think The Conjuring is, now again, to really feel the impact of The Conjuring and to see it as a classic, I think, maybe some more time has to go by. But I think, some great horror movies that are in the classic discussion now are, the first Conjuring, I would say The Others from 2001, The Ring from 2002. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some real studio release films that are just, that kind of pass that threshold. I would not include The Conjuring 2 or The Devil Made Me Do It in that category, as usually the first installment of, are the classics. And then like Halloween obviously is the classic. Halloween 2 wouldn't be considered the classic. You know what I'm saying? Same with Jaws and all that kind of stuff. So I think The Conjuring is a great film. Like again, as far as mainstream studio releases go, it's a pretty darn effective and satisfying horror film. And I think James Wan I like his horror sensibilities as a director. So I would say that. I would say that, Luke. That's what I would say. All right. Have I missed any super chats? I don't believe I have. I just want to double check here. I know a bunch came in, so I just want to make sure I haven't missed any. I don't think I have. I don't think I have. It's like Seinfeld. Let me see here. Let me scroll back. Next Gen Studio says middle-aged men are going into Barbie already deciding how they'll feel before they see it, because why take your daughter, right? No, just get mad at something for people. Well, it's just the way it is now. You know what I mean? It's just, look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm not a prude. I'm not somebody that, I'm not far left. I'm not far or left or right. And that's not a cop out. We live in a world now where obviously, it not just now, it's always been this way, that people like to, paint you into a corner and paint you as somebody who, votes a certain way or thinks a certain way or, whatever the case is. This isn't something I'm just telling you now because I'm afraid to tell you how I really feel. I've always been this way. Always been this way since I was like a teenager. I've voted liberal. I have voted conservative. I've voted, you know what I'm saying? Like I've always been that way. I'm a very sort of, at least I would like to think I'm a very kind of balanced person, although I know I have my biases too, like we all do, of course. And I might, like thinking about it, I might lean a little right of center on most issues, but there's a lot of things I'm like, yeah, no, I fucking agree with that. Let's do that. And it's like more of a left kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like ideology and, how we feel, and all that kind of stuff. But I always try to be very balanced with my thoughts and my views because, to get caught up in the teams and the tribalism, even in the entertainment sphere. It's in the entertainment sphere. There's the political sphere, but the tribalism and the teams and all that, it's in the entertainment sphere as well. And that doesn't mean that both sides don't make really valid points. Listen, is there a woke problem in Hollywood? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There absolutely is. Of course there is. But I'm a very nuanced person. And when I see these channels or these thumbnails or people, I'm just like, you're part of the problem just on the other side. Like you're both, shut up, everybody just shut up. And so I just find it funny now how I'm scrolling and I'm seeing, as you said, middle-aged men going, well, that Barbie movie was very feminist. And I'm like, it's Barbie. It's Barbie. What the, how we have lost our fucking, it's Barbie, man. What do you expect? It's for little girls, and 40, 50-year-old, 60-year-old women that grew up playing with Barbie, of course. I just find it funny. I try not to get caught up in it all. I see it all. But I just think we need to take we all need to take a fucking chill pill. Yeah, I know. I've dated myself here. Who the hell says that anymore? Take a chill pill, man. But I think we do, and just take a step back. Okay, let's take a step back, let's just kind of breathe here. Let's kind of, all that kind of stuff. And it's crazy to me, and I know for some of you out there that may not be what you want to hear, because for some of my viewers, you may be very specific on where you feel and where you land politically or in the entertainment sphere. And to hear me say, I don't care, kind of rubs you the wrong way. You're like, oh, that's disappointing. I wish Dave was more like me. But it's like, it's not that I'm not. It's just that not everything is woke. You know what I mean? Of course it exists. But if everything's woke, nothing's woke. And I just can't stand the littlest thing that pops up and somebody's like, oh, well, there's the problem. It's like, no. It's so frustrating. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. And of course, you're free to disagree. Of course you are. But when and again, I will save my views for when I actually upload the video, but I saw the Dial of Destiny. And if I thought it was a big woke piece of shit, I'd tell you, it's not. And I will go more into it. And that's not me saying it's the best Indiana Jones and it's better than the original three. That's not me saying that. I'm just saying I've seen woke movies. Black Christmas 2019. This is not that. Okay? Calm down. Everybody just take a chill pill, relax, breathe. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. It's just like, God, like, Barbie? Now we're attacking Barbie because it's too girly? What the fuck is going on? Anyway, I don't know. That's right. Amson's like, take a Valium already. It's like, what that Barbie movie was too girly. It was too feminism. God damn it. Telling women to be more, treat women with Barbie. It's Barbie. That's no excuse. That's no excuse. I don't know. I guess these middle-aged men wanted to see Barbie with a machine gun or something. I have no idea. But anyway, Machine Gun Barbie, now available. Now by Mattel. Unsubscribe. And listen, again, I just like to be more of a balanced person. That's all it is. It's not that I wouldn't agree with you if you were like, Dave, yeah, but what about this? I'd be like, yeah, you know what, dude, you're fucking right. You're fucking right. I just think we need to be more balanced. We got to stop being so tribal and angry at each other. Like, we got to stop being gremlins, man. That's what... I mean, that's literally what's happening. And it's like, guys, whoa. Like, can't we all just get along, man? Can't we all just get along? Oh, man. Jonathan Ball says, I have God is a Bullet ready to watch tonight. I'm excited for this one more than anything in theaters right now. God is a Bullet. I've never heard of it, Jonathan. Never heard of it. Cool. Ghost Mystery says, Barbie is not for everyone, and it's okay if no one likes it. That's absolutely true. If no one likes it, that's okay. If lots of people like it, that's okay. It's Barbie. Why any man would think going into Barbie that it would be for them is weird. It's Barbie. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean you can't appreciate it and enjoy it for its own merits. Right? And it's like, oh, that was fun. This was good fun. It was actually kind of fun. Like, I actually want to see Barbie. I can't wait to see it. But I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to go in and be like, well, that definitely wasn't for me. There wasn't enough muscles and man and blood and guts. And there was too much of a message about being feminist. It's Barbie. Anyway. Chris sends in $10. Thank you, Chris. Says, not sure how many ways you can do a good Exorcist movie. Maybe David Gordon Green can insert lines like evil dies tonight or the power of Christ compels you, motherfucker, a la Busta. Can you imagine? The power of Christ compels you, motherfucker. The power of Christ compels you, motherfucker. The power of Christ compels you. That would be hilarious. Why not? Why not? I don't know. You know, it's interesting because I like I'm rooting for it, man. I mean, you guys know me. Again, if you're not new to my channel and you've been following me for any length of time, you know how I am. You know how balanced I try to be with everything. And it's not that it's not genuine. It's not that I'm afraid to pick a side. It has nothing to do. I have no issues telling you how I feel about something, right? And I am genuinely that kind of person that if I like something, I like it. I don't care what anybody else thinks. If I don't like something, I don't like it. And I don't care what it is. And I'm not saying I'm this virtuous, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying that that's how I really have always been. Like I said, I'm an unabashed fan of Avatar. It's not cool to like Avatar. I fucking love Avatar. Love it. Love it. I love Avatar. And that's not the hip thing to say, is it? I mean, let's be honest, right? In the online entertainment culture war sphere, it ain't hip to say you like Avatar. I fucking love Avatar. And I loved The Way of Water. I thought it was great. It's great. Loved it. You know what I mean? Like, so I just wish we could be more like that and stop being worried about what other people think. As long as everybody respects people, then who cares? They're movies. They're fucking movies. Anyway. And again, that doesn't mean that there isn't an issue, right? Two things can be true at the same time. There can be absolutely issues that are like, oh, fuck, here we go again. You know what I'm saying, right? Oh, God, stop doing that, Hollywood. Fuck. Absolutely, right? That can be true. But we can also take it too far where it's like, I think we need to kind of, you know what I'm saying? That can happen too. And that's what frustrates me, where it's like, no, guys, let's not, take a breather here. Anyway, super chat from, I was like Emilio. I was like Emilio. I think is how you say that. Sends in $9.99. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. Says, first time, long time. Amazing. I love it. I've been presenting a lot lately for my job. How on earth are you able to speak so long without throat exhaustion? I get raspy. Any techniques, or does it come with training? That's a great question. You know what? I'm going to be honest, man. I don't know. You know, I do realize, yeah, I mean, I do a lot of these shows solo. I mean, every now and then I'll have like Cecil Laird on, you know, from The Horror Show, or Frank and Darren on from The Slaughtered Lamb. And of course I do the Two Dudes and Some Bullshit with Tony. And those shows are always great because, you know, having a co-host where you can, you know, that takes sort of 50% of the energy is always great. But I think, you know, for lack of sounding, I don't know. I think it's, in terms of the voice, I don't know. But I will say there have been times where I have, because as you can see, I perform at a very high level energy-wise with my shows. Like as soon as my show begins, I'm here and I stay there until the show ends. And you know, there have been times where my show will end and I'll feel my voice is tired. Now, by the next morning, my voice is fine. But I definitely will feel that my voice is tired. So that does happen. But I always have lots of water on hand. And you'll see me often throughout my shows taking sips of water just to keep the vocal cords moist and lubricated, because I think that's really important. The second that the vocal cords begin to dry up, you start to spit a little bit because, you know, the saliva is building up in your mouth trying to lubricate. And, you know, you can spit a little bit and you can get that scratchy kind of thing. So I would say just, you know, lots of water, you know, take a few sips every so often. And yeah, you know, I mean, that's, I don't have a real scientific method or anything like that. I've always had a pretty strong voice, and my voice has, you know, but I think to your point, when you said, does it come with training? I wouldn't say with training, like formal training, but I think it's important to remember or to keep in mind that I've used my voice since I was 6 years old. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when I was 6 years old in the 80s, I used to borrow my mother's boombox to record myself. I was a big fan of Ernest P. Worrell, Jim Varney, and I used to record myself pretending to be Ernest, and you know, talking to Vern, his friend, but we never saw who Vern was. He was always the, you know, like the camera guy. And I remember I used to record myself all the time, but I used to borrow my mother's boombox so often that my older sister Jill came home one day with my own tape recorder, which was great. And so right from a very young age, I've been recording my voice, doing funny, you know, skits and shows and pretending I'm on the radio and playing, like I'd have my boombox, and then I have another boombox with the music on it. And I would put that boombox, you know, close up to the microphone and hit play and, Yeah. Put that one up to the microphone, hit play. So, you know, the music could like carry over to the other tape, you know, and all. And I heard my voice transition from a young boy to a preteen, to a teenager, to an adult. So hearing my voice played back to me from an objective point of view, like a tape recording or a commercial or something, I don't cringe. I'm not like, oh, I don't like the way I sound, because I've heard my voice that way for, you know, 35 years. And so, you know, it's always been sort of there. So as much as that sounds like a cop-out, I think it has helped me it's like a muscle, right? And so it's helped me to nurture that. I've always been working that muscle. I come from that kind of a family. We have the gift of the gab. You know, we're the kind of family that if I had you over for, you know, dinner, you know, you just need to talk. Because we're all like, oh, hey, you know, you can't wait for somebody to stop until you start talking. You just got to get in there. I'm that kind of family, you know? So I think over the years, that's really been, again, it might sound like a cheap answer, but I really think that's part of it. I've never stopped using my voice. So therefore, like you said, training, but that's not formal training. It's not like I have a vocal coach. It's just, you know, organic training, just using that vocal muscle, you know, all my life. And I think that helps me to sustain, you know, talking for this long. All right, let me see here. Trigger 1017 sends in $4.99. Thank you very much. It says, why do you think David Gordon Green wants to remake a classic? Most horror film fans you hear the opinion of never remake a classic. Let's put money aside. Let's put money aside. Well, I think it's about opportunity. I think it is. I don't think you can put money aside. Because David Gordon Green doesn't necessarily want to remake it. He's hired to remake it. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't want to remake it. I'm just saying that, directors are hired hands, right? Blumhouse, look at what happened, right? Now, you may not like Halloween Kills like I don't. You may not like any of the Halloween films. That's fine. But between all three of them, they made like $500 million. And as much as, again, that sounds like a cop-out answer, this is show business. And even Halloween Ends made over 100 million domestic, so I believe it was domestic. And so they make money. And David Gordon Green was the director of those three films. Now, that doesn't in and of itself mean that The Exorcist is going to have the same success. But, but they like to hire the same people. I imagine it was probably largely the same crew, although there might have been some people that were different. It might be the same. Let me just double check and see here, actually. I'm not going to be able to go through the whole crew, obviously. Obviously, we know that Christopher Nelson, who was the special effects makeup artist on the Halloween films, is doing the special effects makeup on The Exorcist Believer. So we know that he came over. The DP is Michael Simmons. So yes, the cinematographer, the DP is Michael Simmons, who was the DP, I believe, on the 3 Halloween movies. So again, it's not unprecedented, especially in the indie world for, the not that it's an independent film, but I mean, in the low budget sphere, it's not unprecedented. You will see some of the same, group of people work with the same directors, the same crew, move around. And Blumhouse, of course, helped to make the Halloween films. They are doing the Exorcist films. So very early on, probably after Halloween Kills, before he even shot Ends, I believe it was, that they said, hey, listen, Halloween Kills was a huge box office success. Halloween 18 was a huge box office success. Universal's just acquired the rights to a Exorcist trilogy. We want you to do it. And you can keep your DP. You can keep the writers. We'll get, Chris Nelson on board, all that kind of stuff, right? And so the opportunity, if you want to take money off the table, we can try and do that, but then it just becomes about opportunity to be able to play in that sandbox, to be able to play. He's played in the world of Halloween. Now he gets to play in the world of The Exorcist. And in a lot of cases, the opportunity and the reward, supersedes the risk. Yes, there's always a risk it could be a box office disaster, but if the budget, did they say what the budget is on The Exorcist? They don't. But let's say the budget on Exorcist the Believer is like, I don't know, 20 million, 30 million, let's say. Let's say it's 30 million. The Exorcist Believer is going to blow by that, no problem. Because it's The Exorcist, it's got that name to it. It's being released on October the 13th. It's Halloween spooky season. There's a very good chance The Exorcist Believer could be $100 million domestic. Possibly. Depending on what the reviews are like and depending if it gets, if it's decent, possibly. But if it is, if it does hit the horror pop culture zeitgeist really well, then that could happen. And so, again, we can take money off the table, but money is always a part of it. The show business, it's not these filmmakers. Yes. Of course the filmmakers are fans too, and they like what they like and they don't like what they don't like. And of course, absolutely. They're not just walls without a brain. Obviously they have emotions, they have preferences, and they like to do, of course. But it's still, money is still a part of it. And, it will only help to, if The Exorcist Believer is as good, it doesn't have to be better, but is as good as Halloween 18, and it makes over 100 million at the box office, and it gets like a 60 to 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's a fucking huge win. That's a huge one. Now, I know we live in the era where, anything below 9 is like garbage, dog shit. Yeah, it's not. If a movie gets like 65 to 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's great. That's really good. That's really good. We have to stop pretending we live in, there is nuance here, people. A 7 out of 10 movie, an 8 out of 10 movie, that's good. That's a good movie. That's a good movie. There's nothing wrong with that. Not every movie has to be 9.8. You know what I'm saying? That's unrealistic, So if Believer gets, like I said, like 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, even like high 60s. For a horror movie, a sequel to The Exorcist gets high 60s? What the? That's like think about that. In my opinion, that would be like, wow, okay. It sounds like it's pretty good, and if we can all walk away going, well, you know what? It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good. It was decent. It was pretty good. It wasn't a disaster. That's huge. That's huge for Blumhouse. That's huge for the new series that they've just begun. It's huge for David Gordon Green's credibility and marketability as a director, right? So it is about money, about not necessarily the money that the movie's going to make or just that, but it's about the potentiality of how it's going to further David Gordon Green as a name within the horror space with Blumhouse. Beyond that, if Believer makes over $100 million at the box office, David Gordon Green is a filmmaker that has had 4 movies gross over $100 million at the domestic box office. He has that on his resume, right? It's big. That's big. Even if the movies are critically, they make money. And so, again, I get what you're saying. Totally. Like, I'm right there with you, buddy. I totally am. But to take money off the table completely, I don't think we can, because it is somehow, whether it's the salary he's getting, hey, I'm going to give you $5 million to direct, The Exorcist Believer, whether it's that, whether it's back end box office percentage, whether it's built into his contract, he's getting something else with that, whether it's a percentage of this, that, and the other, whether it's about furthering his demand as a director. Geez, I have 4 movies, it's grossed over, or, if I can get this to gross over 100, oh my God, you got the perfect release date, you got the perfect thing. Oh my God, this movie could be subpar and still make over 100 million. Woo! You know what I'm saying? It's still about money in some sort of fashion. It's show business. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean the directors don't care about quality, aren't trying to deliver a great product, don't really put their fucking heart and soul into it. Of course. Yes, absolutely. That doesn't mean we're always going to agree with the creative decisions and choices and direction that the filmmakers go in. But just because we don't like a movie or think the movie is doesn't mean that the filmmakers didn't put their heart and soul into it and didn't believe into what they were doing, right? Just because I'm not a fan of the direction of Halloween Kills, that's just my opinion. I would not have done that. But that doesn't mean that the filmmakers that didn't make Halloween Kills weren't busting their fucking asses every night and believing in a product they believed in, right? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that. So, again, we have to be able to separate those things as well. It's just creative decisions that we just as fans wouldn't have done. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes you can recognize incompetence. I mean, there absolutely are incompetent films, where you're like, what the fuck? 100%. But just because we don't agree with a movie or don't like a movie doesn't mean that the film itself is incompetently made or that the director doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Antonis Andriota sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, did you read my previous super chat? I did. Yes. In regards to, let me see here. Let me go back. Oh, no, I didn't. I did not. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sends in $5. Thank you very much. Says, I loved Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, but Crystal Skull is still my favorite of the franchise. Wow, your favorite of the franchise. Now, does that mean, now I don't know how old you are, and I certainly don't mean to sound pretentious when I say this, but could it be because you're a bit younger and maybe you saw the Crystal Skull when you were maybe like 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or something like that, so it really impacted you in a certain way? That's not to say that there can't be people my age and older, in your 40s that the Crystal Skull is not your favorite, but generally speaking, you don't usually find people that are, let's say over 40 that the Crystal Skull is their favorite. But that's cool, man. That's cool. I didn't hate the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I think there were moments of it's, it's one of those things where you're like, You know what I'm saying? I did like Dial of Destiny better. And yeah, I definitely will do that Indiana Jones video soon and get that up on my channel. Although I'm very late to the party, so it probably will get hardly any views because, you know, with these types of things, you got to capitalize when the iron's hot and everybody's raging and ranting and raving and yelling and screaming and telling you how garbage it is and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, hey, if 50 people watch it, whatever, it's up there. Let me see here, scrolling down. Okay, have I missed any other super chats? I don't believe I have. Let me go back over here. I don't believe I have. Yeah, so, right. Okay, no, I haven't. That's good. I just want to make sure I haven't. Let me see here. Yeah, Clinton, Clyde Epstein. Oh, Clinton killed Epstein. Is that what it's like, or is this Clyde killed Epstein? Clinton killed Epstein. I get it. I get what you're saying. Bill Clinton. Well, you never know. I might have. I get what you're saying. You guys are so funny. Yes, that I agree with what you're saying there. According to today's guidelines, Terminator is the wokest franchise. Look, again, you know, I don't like to harp on it, but it's true. It's of course there are issues with certain things for sure, but I just roll my eyes now when I see these people, you know, yelling. I walked out of Dial of Destiny thinking, oh fuck, man, you know. But again, it's important to know. And again, I speak from a place of being that there is definitely nuance in what I'm about to say. But we always have to remember that if you're somebody, and again, I'm not saying they don't believe in what they're saying. Again, that's where nuance comes in. But we have to remember a lot of these big channels that are a part of the culture war, as I've often said, you know, they have an invested interest in this. They're not just doing this for free. You know, rage, hate, and there's been studies on this. They've done studies on, not these channels. I mean, like, you know, there have been scientific studies done on this, you know, that rage and hate and drama, you know, and anger get the most views, you know. So there are reasons why some of these channels you will see that every thumbnail is just, you know, and they're talking about the same things over and over. And it's because people tune in. People, they're angry too. The viewers are angry too. They don't have a YouTube channel, so they don't know where to go. Maybe their wife doesn't want to hear it, or their best friend is on, you know, polar opposite sides of the political, you know, aisle. I don't know. And they need to find a place of community. And a lot of these channels have that. It's a place where people can all go and be angry together. And you know, and they get thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views. It sells. You know, there's nothing virtuous about what they're doing, you know. And again, that doesn't mean they don't make valid points. It does. Again, two things can be true at the same time, but let's not fool ourselves here. I mean, it's business. It's big business. And so I've just always felt that, you know, we got to be more balanced, you know. And I just laughed. Like when I walked out of Dial of Destiny, I just was like, you know, I know what they're talking about, but I just categorically disagree. You know, it's just we need to have a higher threshold, you know, of what woke, like Black Christmas 2019. Now that's woke. Okay. And I'm not saying you can't have other things below that. That is an extreme example by my own admission. Okay. That is very, you know, but it's just, you know, like nothing. And these channels will hate on a movie and hate on a movie months, sometimes years before it ever comes out. And then they go and see the movie because, you know, they have to go see it, of course, because they have to tell you how they think about it. And then they come out of the theater going, it was woke, it was dog shit. Like, oh, what a shock. I mean, you know, has there ever been a case, because I don't know, has there ever been a case where any of these culture war channels yell and scream and bitch and moan and tell you about how it's garbage and this is woke and that's woke and it's going to be garbage and this rumor and that rumor and dog shit and this reshoot and that reshoot and all this, it's garbage, fucking garbage. And then, you know, for like a year, and then go and see the movie and come out of the movie going, you know what, actually wasn't that bad. You know what, I admit I was wrong. You know, I admit I kind of liked it. I hate to say it. I mean, I want to tell you, But I actually, you know what? It wasn't that bad. I actually liked it. If it does happen, it's hardly ever. And part of that is if you are somebody that is like that and you actually go watch a movie and you actually find yourself walking out of the theater, maybe you're standing at, I don't know, the urinal, right? And you're thinking to yourself as you're taking a piss after the movie, you know what? It actually wasn't that bad. I actually kind of liked it. You can't then go on your channel and say that because you have millions of viewers that are counting on you to continue it's dog shit, it's awful. If you were to then go on your channel and say, well, you know what, guys, I actually kind of liked it. You know what? I was wrong. I thought it was going to be like this, but it actually was pretty good. You would then be called a shill, a sellout, fuck you, you're lying, you're getting paid off, all that kind. So they can't do that. Even if they actually kind of liked it. You know what I'm saying? They can't, and so that's why it's like you get caught up in it and then you kind of back yourself into a corner where you're just, and again, that's not me saying that they genuinely don't hate all these things. I'm just saying that we as fans, we as movie fans have to be careful. It's big business, drama, hatred, the thumbnails with the big red eyes or, people going like this with their head down and I see them all over the place. I don't know how many channels there are, but I get recommended them because I type in like Indiana Jones and Star Wars and there's so many of them, and I'm like, holy fuck. And again, that does, and I have to say this because it is true. It doesn't mean that there aren't valid points in there, but can we really trust these reviews? That's what it really comes down to. Can we actually, as fans, really trust these channels? Can we really trust these channels? Is it really organic? I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, right? We have to be able to judge for ourselves. And here's the problem too. If we are viewers of these channels and we're watching these people bitch and moan and complain and argue and yell and scream, and that's not to say they don't have valid points, right? Right? Follow me, right? That's not to say that. But if we're viewers watching this and we're getting angry too, we're getting angry and yelling and screaming and all this kind of stuff, how can then we go into the movie objective? I mean, we're going into the movie now expecting to hate it. And then if we walk out of the movie going, actually, you know what? It kind of wasn't that bad. Can we then say that to ourselves, to our spouses, and to our friends? Can we jump online and say, well, you know what? It actually wasn't that bad. I actually kind of liked it. Right? So it becomes this problem. 40 years ago, 35 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was a teenager in the 90s, this didn't exist. There was no, yes, there was internet, but it was, it was like, AOL and like Netscape and Yahoo. It wasn't even a Google. There was no social media, no YouTube, no. All we did was we looked in the back of a newspaper and there were the black and white ads coming soon, Jurassic Park, and the only information we got was from a movie theater trailer, maybe a 30-second television commercial and those black and white ads you'd see in the back of papers or in the entertainment section of papers. And that was it. There was nobody telling us, you're going to fucking hate this movie. You're going to hate this movie. You're going to hate this movie. You're going to hate this movie. No, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So I can't help but feel that, 35 years ago, 30 years ago, when we would go see movies, our reactions were more genuine because we didn't have all this outside influence telling us what was going to be dog shit a year before we even had a chance to see the movie. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean they're not going to be right. That doesn't mean the movie is not going to be dog shit. But you know what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying, right? So I can't help but think, and I've said this before, I can't help but think that some of the beloved classics that we love today, Terminator 2, Goonies, Back to the Future, Aliens, I don't know, pick your fucking classic that you love today. I can't help but think that if those movies were to come out today, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be, because we'd be told to hate them. you know, but back then we didn't. All we saw was a commercial for Back to the Future and an ad in the newspaper. We're like, hey, that looks fun. Let's go see that. So we went and saw it, and nobody was telling us, you're going to hate this movie. You better hate this fucking movie. You better hate this. You're going to fucking hate this. Look, it's dog shit. Nobody was saying that. Now, one could say, well, that's because movies were made differently then. But that's not the point. The point is there was no influence. There was nobody telling us to like it. There was nobody telling us to not like it, unless it was from somebody who had already seen the movie, right? And you were hanging out with your friends. They were like, it wasn't that great, but you went and saw it anyway, or hey, it was fantastic. Go and see it. Word of mouth, positive and negative, still existed 35, 40 years ago. Of course, it existed 60 years ago. It's always existed. But there wasn't this day-to-day inundation of this almost psychological manipulation, this almost like programming, in a lot of ways, even if you don't realize, and I'm not saying I'm immune to it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think we need to just take the foot off the gas for a second and go watch the movie. And you know what? If you think it's woke, then you think it's woke. If you don't, then you don't. But it's not because somebody's telling you it is or telling you how to think about it. And I know that I am a dying breed thinking that way. And I know that it's never going to happen because these channels and the internet and the social space is just far too powerful. I mean, this is a 44-year-old man who is, being, basically it's a get off my lawn thing. And I totally understand that. I really, really do. It's just, we gotta fuck, man. How do you even have a chance? Give it a chance and don't be afraid to like I said, I love Avatar, and that's not hip to say. That's not cool to say. You know how many people fucking hate Avatar? Dances wolves in space. Pocahontas in space. I mean, it's all over the place. Now I'm like, I love Avatar. I'm in the back. I love Avatar. I mean, you know what? I don't care. I don't care because it's real to me. I like it. It worked for me. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. Every live stream, I always have at least 2 or 3 rants. But yeah, I don't know. It's impossible. It really is impossible. But yeah, how are we expected to trust anybody, when, and again, I'm going to the extreme. Again, there's nuance even within that. But this is a business for these channels, right? They know what gets the views. They know what gets the clicks. That doesn't mean they don't really feel that way, but it's engineered to get you to watch, and so I don't know. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. Let me see here. See, Rosalia, I like hearing different perspectives. That's the key. That's the trick. The problem is too many people don't. I'm not saying you, but too many people don't. There's too many hypocrites, right? It's like in politics, somebody will get really angry. Let's say you're on the right or something, I don't know, right? And you get really angry at, the left, when the left does so, but then when somebody on the right does, you're like, well, it's okay. I mean, obviously, it's like, no, that bullshit's got to stop. It's either okay or it's not okay, Anyway, that shit, man, I don't know if it's just, man, I just want to get back to fun. I want to get back to a time when movies were fun. And this is not me saying we should accept shit and we should just accept woke garbage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that let's give movies a chance before they've come out, but it's virtually impossible now because of everybody that's made up their minds a year before it's even come out. Anyway. All right. Off my soapbox. Zachary sends in $5. Thanks, Zachary. Says, Dave, do you think AI will end the world in our lifetime? I don't know. I don't think it'll end the world, but I do think AI is an issue. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's an issue now. It will be an issue in the future. There's many different types of artificial intelligence, right? And how that can be used. I wouldn't necessarily say end the world, but it's going to change the world. It's going to change the world drastically. And so, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, during my soapbox rant, hang on. Okay, here's one I missed. Bran Hall sends in $4.99. Thank you, Bran. Says, hey, Dave, which movie is scarier to you, The Exorcist or The Omen? Oh, I got to go with The Exorcist. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen The Omen in maybe over 10 years. It's been a minute, as they say, since I've seen The Omen. But I will say that... yeah, I'll say that The Exorcist is the scary. It's because, like, again, it's not just the 360-degree head turn. I mean, all that stuff is great, as I've said many times, right? You know, the green slime, what a wonderful day for an exorcism. You know, all that stuff, and that's great stuff. That's the payoff, right? That's cool. You know, the spider walk down the stairs, which of course is only in the director's cut and not the theatrical cut. Like I get all that, but it's the suspense, it's the buildup, it feels so real and feels so grounded. You know, the pacing of The Exorcist is tremendous, you know, and it's eerie. It's an eerie film, like the shots, the lens choices, the camera angles. It's just very eerie. And the mood and atmosphere, again, mood and atmosphere isn't just, you know, rainy days with thunder or something. I mean, mood and atmosphere, you can have a lot of mood and atmosphere during the day, you know, and so I really appreciate the direction of The Exorcist, the cinematography of The Exorcist, the symbolism in that movie. Yeah, so because I haven't seen The Omen in quite a while, I'm gonna say The Exorcist. But I gotta watch The Omen again. It's been a while since I've seen The Omen. Let me see here. Let me just scroll back. Okay, I think I've got all the super chats so far, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, anyway. I think so. I think I have. Let me scroll down. Yes, I believe I have. Okay. All right. AB James says, Dave, I also like Avatar. Woo! Avatar fans unite. And Titanic 2, and True Lies, and Terminator 2, The Abyss. Screw it. I like everything James Cameron's directed. Yeah, James Cameron's great. I don't think there's anything he's directed that I haven't liked. I agree. That doesn't mean that some films don't resonate with me more than others. But yeah, no, I like Avatar. I saw it when it came out in 2009, saw it 3 times in the theater actually. And I love it. And so when I was very excited to see The Way of Water and really enjoyed it. Thought it was great. So, you know, I just, anyway, I don't want to get on, I don't want to get back up on my soapbox. So let me just say that I like it too. Let me see here. How much we got? We've been going, all right, well, we'll go a little longer here. Sunday. Let me see. Bryden Curry says, of course you're using woke in the correct way. You don't even know what it means. Shake my head. Are you talking about me? Well, if you're talking about me, I categorically disagree. I know exactly what woke means, and I know how it should be used. The problem is that the vast majority of people don't use it the right way. The problem is not everybody, right? Maybe not even you, but the vast majority of people that I've seen really like to glom onto buzzwords, right? It's all about glomming onto the buzzwords, and then they share it amongst their own social sort of circles. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, they're sharing it incorrectly, and they're not using it correctly. And that is a problem. That absolutely is a problem in the space. And it's generally because people don't actually either have the time nor the care to look into these things deeper and to find out what it really means. I mean, I had somebody, you know, complain to me that they saw a movie recently. I forget what movie it was, but it had 2 gay guys in it holding hands. And they said it was the wokest film that they've ever seen. And I said, well, what's the film about? And they explained what it was about. And I said, well, I don't understand, because 2 gay guys were holding hands. Well, yeah, but Dave, so you got to understand that, you know, and it's like, no, that's not what woke means. That has nothing to that has nothing to do that. No, it doesn't. And so there's lots of that. There's lots of sifting through the weeds and all that kind of stuff. And that's part of the problem, right? It's a very muddy, people are angry. People are angry. They're angry at the world. They're angry in their own lives. They're miserable in their own lives. They hate their fucking jobs. They hate their spouses. Maybe they even hate their kids. I don't know. And again, I'm speaking generally, of course. There's a lot of anger, and people turn to online channels and spheres and spaces to be able to feel like they belong somewhere and feel like they're part of a community and a group. And sometimes that can be in the political side. Sometimes that can be on the entertainment side. But very few of these people, not all of them, but very few of these people actually take the time to educate themselves on the nuances and the idiosyncrasies of what woke means and what really is woke and what isn't. Because some people have pointed out, I mean, had Terminator 2 come out today, people would be complaining it's the wokest thing of all time, right? You know what I mean? And that was a, female-led action movie in 1991. And nobody bitched and moaned and complained about it, right? So again, it does exist, absolutely. But in my estimation and in my travels, the vast majority of people are using it incorrectly. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. And that's sort of how I see it. But it's a tricky thing. We have to be careful because, again, like I said, there is vested interests with these channels that moan and complain about this stuff. It doesn't mean that they don't have points about things, but they're not doing this for free. This is their full-time jobs. This is how they make money. And there's a reason why their entire catalog of videos is all about this. It's because that's what sells, that's what gets you to watch, and that's what gets you clicks. Even if it's a video that seems so kind of like, what was the point of this? It doesn't matter. As long as the thumbnail is, somebody with red eyes or something, you're going to click on it. And it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. It's the way it is. Let me see. Holly Klein says, Dave, do you ever tune into The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder? No. I don't. The Last Drive-In. Have I heard of The Last Drive-In? I might have heard of The Last Drive-In. I'm not sure. It sounds familiar. But I can tell you that I haven't seen it, though. That's true. That's true. Johnny Cahill says, Dave, have you seen the horror movie The Empty Man? I haven't, but I've heard about it, and I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I watched it and loved it. It wasn't well received initially, but has started to gain praise in recent reviews. Yeah, I have heard about it, and I've heard it's a nice slow burn, psychological, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I definitely want to check that out, man. Definitely. Let me keep scrolling. I'm going to scroll back and see here. Chastity Smith says, whenever I know there's a movie coming out, I don't listen to what other people think. I base the movie on the excitement and how it's put together. And does it tell a complete story? Well, that's how you have to do it, right? That's how you have to do it. Too many people will review or judge movies based on what they think it should be, not what it is. And now you can add in a review. That's why, I'll often say there's a difference between a critique and an opinion. There's a big difference between the two. The two don't necessarily go together. They can, but not necessarily. To critique a movie, to really critique it, you are critiquing what the movie is, how it is presented at face value. Not necessarily what you think they should do. And again, that doesn't mean you can't mention what you think they should do or what you would have done, what would have worked better, you think. But you also have to dive into the nitty gritty and of what is actually there, what's being presented. And that can be an art in and of itself. And I don't claim to be an expert, in being able to do that. I'm just saying that can be an art in and of itself. That's what made, critics like Roger Ebert so incredibly successful, was because he was able to walk those lines. Like, go back and read reviews of Roger Ebert and how some of his reviews, I mean, and that doesn't mean that you're going to agree with everything, but he was educated in film very well. That's what I have found too. And again, I'm speaking generally, of course, because it is so easy today to become a critic. It's so easy today to become a movie reviewer. Years and years ago, like back in my father's time, right? Years and years ago, during the, golden age of journalism through, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, movie punditry was, movie reviews in newspapers or in magazines. There was no internet, so that means that, Joe Blow and his dog eating Cheetos at 3 a.m. could not become a movie reviewer unless they maybe went to film school or had some sort of background and understanding of the filmmaking process or writing and structure and storytelling and all that kind of stuff, and so you tuned in to see, at the movies with Siskel and Ebert or to read their reviews or whatever the case is. The internet didn't exist yet, which opened it up to everybody and everyone getting, their foot in there. And when you open it up to everybody and everyone, you get lots of talented people, but you also get the people that don't know their asses from their elbows, right? Because now everybody and their uncle and aunt can have a blog, or a vlog or a YouTube channel or, that kind of stuff. And so, with that comes the good, because then you discover untapped, untapped, underappreciated, never before seen talent, whether that's in, filmmaking or vlogging or writing or, whatever the case is, right? You get all those people. Yeah, that's great. But with them, you also get the, all the other garbage that come with them, right? People that don't have any talent, that think they're great, that they're not great, they're stubborn, they, again, don't know their asses from their elbows, and you get all the garbage as well. And I'm just saying it like it is, right? I know it doesn't sound nice, but it's true. And so that's been part of a problem, to weed through that and find people that really know what they're talking about. And, again, I'm not saying that I'm an expert. That's not me. I'm just saying that, this is the reality. I'm trying to look at this, objectively, right? And so, that's why I will read some reviews where I'm like, wow, that's a great critique. That's a great review. This individual really knows what they're talking about. They understand structure and story and pacing and writing and filmmaking and they're able to even tell you they didn't like the movie, but they're able to even tell you what worked with it and what didn't work and why that worked. And, it's really well written. And then you get Billy Bob's Fart Blog and it's like, it's, they're just giving an opinion, and it's, I'm a critic. I'm a movie critic. It's like, well, not, I guess in today's world you are, I guess, but you shouldn't be, because you're saying things that just, it's very clear you don't understand. You're just giving your thoughts on what you thought of the movie in terms of how it worked for you. And that's fine. Like that's cool, because critics will do that. But there's that little extra, right? There's that extra that you've got to go if you want to be a serious critic, in my opinion. Now, again, to some of you out there, maybe that seems like, I'm being really anal and really sort of stubborn or whatever. But remember, I grew up in a media family, and my father was one of the top journalists in Canada for many years. And so I have a bit of a different perspective than maybe the average individual. My dad's met the Beatles. My dad's met, Liberace and John Candy. And, he's met, I have a bit of a different perspective on when it comes to sources, right? I've often, talked about sources here on the channel and all that kind of stuff. And so I take this stuff very seriously, and maybe I'm a hard marker. Like I would be that teacher that is like a hard marker. Do you know what I mean? Because I think we should have standards. And I think that the more you water the pool, the lower the standards are, and you got to weed through and then you come across a gem. But 30, 40 years ago, that doesn't mean there weren't people that were better than others. I'm just saying there wasn't this thing called the internet and YouTube and blogs and vlogs where, yoga moms can now become movie critics. You know what I'm saying? Not that there can't be great yoga moms being movie critics. Again, I'm just saying, it was usually left to the people that knew what they were talking about. And so now I find it's hard to read, because sometimes I'll read a review and I'm like with all due respect, it sounds like a high school student wrote this. Like, I'm just like, okay, I need more. Like, this is just, and your critic and your review is affecting the Rotten Tomatoes score because you're a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic. It's like, okay, and so that can be a little frustrating sometimes. And again, I have to preface this again, and not preface it, I'm beyond that now, but I got to reiterate, I should say, again, that doesn't mean that I'm the world's most formal, expert. It's just, these are things that I've noticed. And you've probably noticed these things too, right? If you read Rotten Tomatoes or read critics, you'll probably read somebody's review or listen to somebody's review and you're like, well, that isn't okay, but that doesn't really tell me anything. You know what I mean? And that can happen a lot with such a saturated space. And again, because of how I grew up, I recognize I'm a bit, I'm like, the party pooper. Oh, you must be so fun at parties. Yeah, I can be that guy maybe at times, but it's just because I take it seriously, and I want things to be, I want there to be standards. I want things to be, I don't like this mess we're in now. It seems so messy now, and so anyways, I don't know where the fuck I was going with that, but there I am, Dave. What was this, rant number 4 today? I think this is rant number 4 today, if I'm not mistaken. Dave back on his soapbox. And again, I'm not talking about anybody specific. So before anybody specific out there thinks I'm talking about them, I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm just talking about what I've seen in my travels over the years surfing the internet, right? And you've probably seen it too. You know what I mean? You've probably seen it. That's why you might always go back to the same reviewer that you find because, this review, they break it down. They talk about this. They talk about that. They usually leave their bias at the door and, break this and talk about this. And they do give you their thoughts on it, but it goes beyond just a surface level opinion, and it dives a bit deeper. It's clearly somebody who really understands filmmaking and structure and story and all that kind of stuff. And that's important. It's important, anyways, again, I understand that I'm, but Dave, there's a good one. Haven't heard that one in a while. There's a good one. All right, did I miss any super chats before that came in? Oh, wait, here's one. AK Channel TV, yes, sends in $4.99, says, watching Halloween '07 right now. Amazing, Rob Zombie. And what is up with Judith and Ronnie? Could have gone the psychopath route without the trailer trash angle. Again, it's one of those things where, I just don't agree with, listen, Rob Zombie, for whatever reason, there's a pattern in Rob Zombie movies, some more so than others. I mean, some, I'm not saying, but there's a pattern in Rob Zombie movies, I guess minus the Munsters, where there's this white trash hick vibe to a lot of his characters. Whether it's The Devil's Rejects, whether it's Halloween, whether it's A House of a Thousand Corpses, there's always something. There's a trashy thing about some of his movies, and it's just kind of, I don't know why. It's not like I've ever seen a Rob Zombie movie as polished as Oppenheimer, or even Barbie, or even Mission Impossible. Like his movies aren't like that. His movies are B, trash, grindhouse, and that's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But it's not surprising then when you've hired that kind of a filmmaker to do Halloween. If he was to do A Nightmare on Elm Street, he would probably do something similar. Not necessarily to the extreme, maybe, but I could see him wanting to, for whatever reason. He'd want to set it in the South somewhere, and he'd want to have Nancy come from a troubled home, and she's, I don't know, she is married to her stepbrother, something. You know what I mean? Like there'd be some sort of trashy thing about Rob Zombie's remake of Elm Street. I don't know why he does it. I don't know. It doesn't jive for me. It certainly didn't jive for me in Halloween. But he did that because he just didn't want to do that. And listen, Halloween '07, I mean, for all the shit that I give it, I like to give credit where credit is due. And he didn't just do the same thing over again. He made it his own. It's not something that I necessarily agree with. It's not the creative choices and decisions that I would make. But judging it on its own merits, it's competently made. There's some really good moments in there. It does lean heavily on the nostalgia of the original Halloween. And I think Rob Zombie felt a little more free when he did part 2 in 2009. He felt like he could go off and do his own thing and not be sort of tied down to the tropey things of Carpenter's classic. But yeah, but I mean, listen, Zombies Halloween is not awful. It's not an awful horror movie. It's just not, I like to shit on it because I'm just like, it's so like trashy and, it's just like, but looking at it objectively through the filmmaking lens, it's competently made. There's some good things in there and I can understand why people like it for sure. It's just not for me. But those movies in general are not for me. Like, I don't particularly like those movies in general. The trashy white horror trash type of horror movies. I mean, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I have to take it. But even that is like, it's not really, and I'm talking about the original from 1974. I like the movie. I appreciate it for its cultural significance and what it's done to the for the horror genre for sure. But it's not one of my favorites. And I think a part of that is the trash cannibalism sort of vibe of the movie. It's just kind of like, it's just not my type of horror movie. But I do like it. And I think it's creepy for sure. And I am I'm not gonna say huge, but I'm a big fan of the remake with Jessica Biel. I do like that movie a lot. I think it's one of the better horror remakes ever, to be honest with you. I think it is a better remake of Texas Chainsaw than Rob Zombie's Halloween is of Halloween. I think it's a better remake of, I think it's a better remake than the Friday the 13th remake, than the Elm Street remake, and then the Halloween remake. Hands down. I think the Texas Chainsaw remake is a better remake to its series than all the others were. Easily, in my opinion. That's me. Zach Axiola says, Dave, I was pleasantly surprised with Dial of Destiny. I thought it was a much better send-off for Indiana Jones and Rise of Skywalker was for Star Wars. Thoughts? Well, when we're just talking about the individual, I would say yes. I would say that Dial of Destiny, I mean, it's like comparing apples and oranges now, let's be honest, but I would say that Dial of Destiny is a better send-off than Rise of Skywalker. Yes. Yes, I would say that. Again, I like The Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was a better Star Wars movie than although I understand why, I'm still sort of surprised that it gets shit on more than The Last Jedi, because The Last Jedi is the reason you have The Rise of Skywalker. If The Last Jedi, if Rian Johnson didn't, be all avant-garde and create a new first act, because that's what they are. The Force Awakens and TLJ are essentially just two first acts. It's like he started over again. The Rise of Skywalker is a better Star Wars movie. I'm going to say it. It's a better Star Wars movie, and hopefully you know what I mean when I say that. It's a better Star Wars movie than The Last Jedi is, in my opinion. The Rise of Skywalker is not great. It couldn't be great. It needed another film. They needed to go to 10 if they were going to sort of, fix shit. But here you have The Last Jedi undoes what JJ does in The Force Awakens, and then JJ undoes what Ryan does. I mean, it was just incompetence. They're not incompetent filmmakers. JJ gets shit on for I don't understand why he gets shit on. I really don't. He's a competent filmmaker that is very good at making, blockbuster kind of stuff. The Force Awakens was a great return to form. Last Jedi was like, what the fuck is going on here? And The Rise of Skywalker was like, well, it's only as good as it could be. It feels like two movies in one, because it is. I don't understand what, because they couldn't, but they didn't make it up because they can't. It should have been a better movie. The Rise of Skywalker should have been the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Endgame. It should have been that, but it couldn't have been that. Not because of The Force Awakens, where they started, because of that middle chapter, the second act. The second act of the 3-act play was fucked. It just was, it was like, what the fuck are we doing? Anyway, that being said, so I agree with you in that sense. I do. Although I will defend until the cows come home. I loved that Rey was a Palpatine. Loved it. Loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The symbolism and the layers and the philosophical meaning around that. Loved it. I would have done the same thing. But really, that should have been the end of episode 9, that discovery. And then you have like an episode 10 where you continue on. It needed 2 movies to make up for the debacle of The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi. So I agree with your sentiment there. I do. I agree. Although when I upload my video of the Dial of Destiny, I will have some things to say about the ending of that movie and how, certain things that I'll have to say. But I enjoyed the Dial of Destiny. Like I said, it's not like, the hyperbole coming out of those, that I see online, the worst movie ever, the Dial of Dumpster Fire, the catastrophic failure. It's like, okay, if you think the Dial of Destiny is an absolute dumpster fire, if you are suggesting the Dial of Destiny is an absolute dumpster fire, you've never seen a dumpster fire, because it's not. It's not. And I'd tell you if it was. If the Dial of Destiny was Halloween 5 or Halloween Resurrection, I go, yeah, the Dial of Destiny is a piece of shit. It's a fucking piece of shit. It's a dog piece of shit. It's not. It's not. It's not. But we got to say that, though. Got to get those clicks. Let me see. I'm sure I've angered a lot of people. But that's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. I just think we need to just take our foot off the gas and breathe and just, let's just not get so, that's not me saying we need to accept shit from Hollywood. I'm not lowering my standards. I'm just saying that we got to be careful. We just got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. Unimpressive Media says, hey, Dave, despite some of the backlash, I find it refreshing to see so much discourse about 2 films, Barbie and Oppenheimer, that aren't superhero movies. I agree. Barbieheimer. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do. I think it is refreshing to see, it's a great market, Barbieheimer. Obviously, the industry has glommed on that, like, it's nobody's business and just using it to, this is not the first time in movie history that 2 blockbusters have opened, in the same weekend. There's nothing unique really about this. It's just that somebody somewhere, Barbieheimer. Oh, and of course, the box office is down. Oppenheimer, they couldn't be 2 like more polar opposite type movies. And, one is about, Barbie and one's about the nuclear bomb. I get, and Barbieheimer, the name Barbieheimer, I get it. It's like when tabloids ran with Bennifer, with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez it's just it's a perfect marketing thing, but it is cool to see. I haven't seen either movie yet. But I have heard, like I said, I heard that Barbie's just feminism nonsense. Well, it is Barbie. A lot of pink going on there. Let me see here. Scroll down, scroll up, scroll down. Chastity Smith, got that one. All right, what do we got? We got, we're an hour and 34 minutes in. I'll take this to 5 o'clock. Let's take this to 5 o'clock. That's about another 10 minutes or so. And then I will call it a show. It was nice. I just say, it was Sunday afternoon. Had nothing to do. Thought I would jump on, hang out with you guys for a little bit. Always like to get those Q&As in there. But the next time you see me, hopefully will be the next McRae Live, which will be when the Exorcist trailer drops officially. I'm saving for when it drops officially to do maybe a McRae Live and give you my thoughts on it. So we'll see what happens then. Warren Armour says, tell it like it is, Dave. I agree with you 100%. Thanks, Warren. I appreciate that. Yeah. No, it's just, I guess, listen, I was called a shill. I forget who it was. Maybe it was a bunch of people. I was called a shill. Get this. This is how ridiculous, it's become now. I was called a shill because during my Halloween Kills reviews, I didn't hate it enough. You know, somebody had accused me of again, because they're not implementing nuance, right? When I did my theater reaction, I guess, out of the theater reaction to Halloween Kills, I was talking about how I really enjoyed the experience. You know, the experience of watching the movie. I really enjoyed this because Bruce and I had made an agreement that when we go to do our out of the theater reaction, let's focus on the positive, like what we enjoyed. You know what I mean? Michael looked great. The music was great. The experience of watching the movie was really cool. And, you know, I was talking about that. And I even said, I think Halloween fans might actually like this movie better than 18. I think I ended up being wrong on that. But I thought maybe some would, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? And I saved my issues I had for the movie, which were a lot, for my review that I was going to do live, like I think the next day or something. But I got called out for being a shill. Oh yeah, Dave, you're being a shill. You're hiding. You're afraid to say something. It's like, because I'm not hating it in the ways that you hated it, or I'm not hating it I'm not spewing the same vitriol, or I'm being more nuanced, I'm being more balanced, therefore I am a shill. Like, it's just this whole, it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. It's like, it's, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I like to be balanced about things. I have no issues telling you I didn't like a movie. No issues whatsoever. If I didn't like it, I'm going to tell you I didn't like it. But you know, most of the time, even in movies I don't like, there are redeeming qualities. I like this moment. I like that shot. I like this. I like that. And I like to give everything. You know, and, but oh yeah, and I know I'm not the only one. Cody Leach, Lee McCoy, Cecil Laird, Frank and Darren, you know, we've all been called shills for, you're not hating on the movie in the ways that I think you should hate on the movie. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Man, it happens. Warren Armour says, chocolate milk is great. Yeah, damn right chocolate milk is great. We need more people drinking chocolate milk. Chocolate milk. Hey, I had a chocolate milk this morning, by the way. I went through the Tim Hortons drive-thru. That's right, very Canadian. Went through the Tim Hortons drive-thru this morning and got myself a small chocolate milk. Lee the Machine Bowers, ladies and gentlemen. Lee the Machine Bowers says, Dave, man, please send help. My nieces are bugging me to take them to see Barbie. Lee, I think you should go. You go for them, Lee. You go for them. That would be, hey, you would be Uncle of the Year, Lee. Uncle of the Year. Lee the Machine Bowers takes his nieces to see Barbie. Aww. Lee. I think you should do that. Evil Monsterism says, Dave, did you send Blumhouse an invoice for the alleged shilling? Yes, I did. I actually have a Blumhouse check here. And there's a note from Jason Blum that says, Dear Dave, really want to thank you for shilling for our movie Halloween Kills. Really appreciate it. We probably would not have crossed $100 billion at the worldwide box office if it wasn't for you. Incredible. Please see here a $3,000 Amazon gift card. Amazing. An invitation to my birthday on my yacht. Incredible. And also what does that say? Oh, I see. And also a season's pass to Walt Disneyland if you ever come to California again. Yours truly, all the best, J Blum. J Blum. Thank you so much. Amazing. A $3,000 Amazon gift. Thank you so much, J Blum. I really appreciate that. It's amazing. I mean, we're tight. I mean, myself and Jason Blum, we're tight. Like we are. And I've been on his yacht. I was there for his birthday. You know, we were doing the Macarena. Hey, Macarena. Oh yeah, on his yacht and everything. And it was amazing. I pitched him, a couple of ideas, and he was like, all right. I'll just, I'll think about it. I said, hey, listen, if you need anybody to, and he's like, I'll think about it. And he's a great guy. Yeah. J Blum. Me and J Blum are close. 100%. Me and J Blum, baby! J Blum! Ow! Just picture me and Jason Blum doing the Macarena on his yacht. It was wild. It was a wild night. Oh, dude, it was wild. It was wild. It was wild. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis was there. Andy Matichuk was there. I mean, all these celebrities. Whoopi Goldberg was there. I mean, it was his birthday, you know. And we were diving off his yacht into the water and shit. I was there swimming. It was great. Just love it. Love it. Love it. It's fucking amazing. Just absolutely love it. Spidey Fan 1993 says, Dave, what's the best brand of chocolate milk? I like Seal Test. Good Canadian brand. Yeah. Seal Test is good. I usually get the Nielsen. The Nielsen brand of chocolate milk I think is good. But Seal Test is good. There's a chocolate milk. I think the brand is it Beatrice? Beatrice, I think is pretty good. Quick is good too. Quick is all right. You know, but I would say, yeah, I'm usually buying, like if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm going through the drive-through, or if I'm at like a restaurant and they bring me a chocolate milk, even though I can't see, like they don't bring the carton, they just bring, the glass of chocolate milk. I can tell that I think it's probably Nielsen chocolate milk. It's the you see that a lot around here. So I say, yeah. But you know what? I do notice the difference. I do. But I don't think I've ever had like a bad chocolate milk. I've had chocolate milk that hasn't been chocolatey enough. Like when you go to a restaurant that doesn't really serve chocolate milk, so they squirt like some chocolate syrup into like a glass of white milk and stir it, but it's not enough. And then they bring it to the table and it just looks like a kind of a light brown glass of milk. And then I drink it and I'm like, it'll do. Like, it's fine. It's fine. That's usually when it's like, But in terms of like bad chocolate milk, I don't know if I've ever had bad chocolate milk. I'm not sure. Hey, Geeked Out Turtle Fan 43 says, Dave sits in Spielberg's hot tub every Sunday afternoon. Steven in his E.T. Speedo. Dave is Indiana Jones Speedo, drinking Margaret. It's true. Well, I mean, I didn't do it this Sunday, obviously, because I'm hanging out with you guys. But next Sunday, me and Spielberg are sitting in his hot tub. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spielberg and I are tight. Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, he doesn't send me checks. Jason Blum just sends me checks and gift cards. But we're tight. Yeah, me and Spielberg. But Blum, man, Blum knows how to party. Jason Blum is one hell of a partier. His yacht. We're out there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, balloons, all that kind of stuff. It's wild. It's wild stuff, folks. It's wild stuff. All right, have I got all the super chats? I think I've got all the super chats. I think so, anyway. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just see. Have I got all the super chats? I hope I do. Let me see. What are we at here? All right, the Hatchet Boy says, Dave, were you wearing your It's Me Billy Speedo doing the Macarena? I was. Yes, I was. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was wearing my It's Me Billy Speedo doing the Macarena. Yep, 100%. It was great. Jigsaw 44 says, someone tried to tell me once that I wasn't watching something properly. So I told them, I don't know about you, but I sit with my bum in the chair. They probably, that's funny. They probably meant like maybe you weren't maybe understanding something that was, I think I get what they were talking about, but yeah, that is a funny thing to say. No, you're not watching it. That usually happens when, look, films are art, right? And some movies are going to resonate with us. And, how many times have we shown a movie that we really like? And there's certain scenes and shots and moments that we're like, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? And when you watch a movie, you're watching it with your friend or your girlfriend or whatever, and they're watching for the first time, and you spend more time watching them watch the movie than you watching the movie because you want to see their reaction to something. That's a very common phenomenon. Phenomenon. Anyway, it's a very common thing. And there's been many moments over the years in my life where something will happen and I'll be like, I'll be watching them, and they don't respond in the ways that I want them to respond. And I could see somebody be like, no, you're not watching it right, because they feel that if you were watching it right, you would get and have the same emotional response, because that moment or that shot would affect you on the same emotional levels that it did them. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes that is the case, right? Sometimes that does happen. But sometimes that's not the case. It's like music, right? Music is actually probably the better example of that. There's been lots of times where there's something like somebody will say to me, listen to this song, dude. Oh, just listen to it. And I'll listen to it. And they're like, right here. Like whatever it is, right? And it's really like, oh yeah, to them. And to me, I'm like, it's not hitting me. It's not hitting me. Like they want that to hit me the same ways that moment in the desert chase from Raiders of the Lost Ark hits me, right? That moment where it goes bum 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 ba 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 da bum 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 ba da 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 bum. Oh, that fucking hits me. I'm just like, yeah, and then it goes da 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 run dun dun da 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 dun dun. Like, oh fuck, it's awesome, right? It's awesome. That's how they want their little thing in there to hit me. And it's not hitting me that way. I couldn't care less if I ever heard that fucking thing they're trying to let me hear ever again. Not because it's bad. It's just whatever it is, whatever emotional thing they're feeling from that moment in that song, whether it's a song with lyrics or an instrumental song, whatever it is, I can intellectualize and understand that, okay, this thing is hitting them the way that, like, the Superman theme, right? Like that opening moment, or, and then it gets like, dun, 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 that kind of, oh, yeah, here we go, baby! That kind of shit, right? That, like, I can intellectualize, like, okay, that whatever it is they're hearing is like me listening to this, so I can empathize with them and sort of live vicariously through kind of what they're experiencing. But I don't experience it at all. Like whatever it is they're hearing, I just don't hear it. That happens a lot. And maybe sometimes there's people that are like, you're not listening to it right, or you're not watching it right, because if you were, clearly you would feel the same way as me. And it's like, no, that's not. There's a lot of things that dictate how we will respond emotionally to things, right? There's a lot of reasons why certain things will affect us on certain levels, and so I suspect that maybe that's what they mean when they say that, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong. Sebastian says, you didn't watch it properly. You keep thinking about Kevin Bacon's boner, Dave. It's true. It's true. I mean, listen, you can't watch Friday the 13th from 1980 without admiring the sawed-off boner, because it looks like it's sawed off. I don't know what's going on there, but it definitely looks sawed off as far as I'm concerned. Richie Rich says, it's like Heavyweights, 1995. Lunch is canceled due to lack of hustle. Ben Stiller, man. Lunch is canceled. I haven't seen Heavyweights in so many years, but I remember that movie. Lee the Machine Bauer says, I'll be on the Blumhouse yacht in my Michael Myers mask and Halloween Speedo. Yes. Love it, Lee. Love it. Let's do it. Love it. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, guess this movie quote. You going to kill me, Snake, right now? I'm too tired. Maybe later. We make one hell of a team, Snake. The name is Pliskin. What movie is this from? Keep up the great work. Well, it's either from Escape from New York or Escape from LA, but I'm not sure which. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Escape from New York. Okay, what do we got? It's after 5 o'clock. You know what? Let's go another 10 minutes. We'll take this thing right to 2 hours. Oliver Mercer says, yeah, I've had a lot. I've had that a lot, Dave. Yeah, no, it happens. It definitely happens. For sure. Definitely happens. Stefan Poirier says, hello, everybody. What's going on? Or Stefan, maybe, is how you say that. Okay, no super chats were missed, right? Let me just go back, make sure. The last super chat was from AK Channel TV, watching Halloween 07. Okay, that was a little while ago. Good, just want to make sure. It doesn't look like I've missed any. It does not look like I've missed any. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's somebody I don't have here. Matthew Mills says, do you think you'll watch Exorcist Believer in the theater? Maybe. It's hard to say. Maybe I will. I might. It's Halloween time, October the 13th. I'll be in the spooky mood as we all will. I could see that. Yeah, I could see myself going to see it at that time. Maybe that's something that maybe Bruce and I will go see, have like a guy's night. Go out for dinner, go see The Exorcist Believer or something. I don't know. We'll see. But it wouldn't surprise me if I didn't end up seeing it in the theater. So we'll see. We shall see. Let me scroll down here. Chester says, Dave, you are correct. Escape from New York is the correct answer. Ding, 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 ding. And what do I get for it? What's my prize, Chester? What's my prize? What is my prize? Stefan. Okay, got you. Stefan, not Stefan. Stefan is my elitist name. Stefan, gotcha. Gina Robbins says, hi, Dave. Do you think Michael cut Linda in half in the closet, but she gets stuffed and looks kind of small? I've always wondered about that. Yeah, I don't think she is cut in half. I used to think that too, actually, for many years. It kind of looks like just sort of her torso is in the closet, but I don't think that's it. I think she is... I got to look at that again. Her legs are somewhere else. I got to look at that again. You know what? I'm going to look at that right now. Right now, bitches. Live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Let's go to that scene so I can fucking see that. Okay, I got to go all the way to the end. Scroll. Thank goodness it's free on YouTube. Scroll. Oh, wait, got to go back. Back. Went too far. Okay, there's Annie on the bed. Okay, let's jump ahead. Okay. Here we go. Bob comes dangling out of the closet. There he is. She's there. Okay, Bob's dangling, swinging. The door opens. No. So, okay. No, she's her legs are because there's more of the closet to the left. But there are very sort of deep shadows, dark blacks, which sort of kind of makes it seem like from a certain point of view, it kind of looks like it could be her torso. But her legs are clearly, she's stuffed in what looks like a closet with shelves, like a pantry, even though it's not a pantry because it's in a bedroom, but that type of a closet with kind of shelving space or whatever. And she's just stuffed in there. But yes, from a certain point of view, for years, I used to think it kind of looked like that too. And if you thought that, and if I thought that, then clearly we are not the only ones. Stefan Poirier says, Dave, so has Dylan's New Nightmare premiered? No. Well, it did. It premiered officially, had its online premiere at Mad Monster Convention, the Mad Monster Party Convention in Arizona on July the 7th. But it has not premiered. It has not been released online yet. Dylan's New Nightmare will be released online at the end of August, as far as I know. I believe that's like August 25th, 26th, 27th, like somewhere around there, like towards the end of August is when Dylan's New Nightmare will premiere online on YouTube for everybody. 5 more minutes left. I can't even talk right now. 5 more minutes left in the show, folks. 5 more minutes left in today's Sunday Q&A. It was fun. I mean, I did have a couple of my rants, a couple of my soapbox rants. But what's a Dave McRae live stream without a couple of soapbox rants? You know what I mean? Sometimes I think I had like four rants today. Oh, man. Oh, man. Richie Rich says, Dave, do you remember back in the day when you actually had to go and look at the encyclopedia to do your research? Of course, yeah. You'd go to the library and you had those index cards too, for sure. I mean, I graduated high school really when the internet was really starting to, I mean, we had the internet when I was in high school in the computer lab, but there were no smartphones. There were no, I mean, I didn't have my email address until I was, I think, 19. Was when I had my first email address. And the internet it's not like it is now. There was no social media. It was just for looking up stuff. And, it was very, like in the mid to late 90s, it was really, archaic compared to what it is now. And it was dial up, You know what I'm saying? And it was, or did we have internet in the school? I think we did have internet in the school. Yeah, no, we did. Because I remember seeing Netscape as a way to surf the internet. So we did. But it was very rudimentary, and now, I mean, kids today, it's funny, myself and my girlfriend were out for dinner last night, and this really very beautiful spot, and just beautiful. We were out on the patio and it was just gorgeous. And there was this young girl that came into the place and she was being seated. She had all these balloons and one of the balloons had the number 18 on it. So I guess she was celebrating her 18th birthday. But I said to my girlfriend, I said, so she's celebrating her 18th birthday today, which means she was born in 2005. Well, in 2005, I was 26. So, I'm old enough to be her father. And I just, I said to her, not to her, but to, my girlfriend, I said, look, she's grown up in this world. She doesn't know a world that doesn't exist. Because she was born in 2005, but she would have been 10 in 2015. A world with no smartphones, she does not know that world. A world with no internet, she doesn't know it. A world without YouTube, she doesn't know it. A world without social media, she does not know that world. That world does not exist to her. You know what I mean? A world without Blu-rays, she doesn't know that world. A world without DVDs, she doesn't. Blu-ray, she doesn't know. A world without Sony PlayStation, she doesn't know that world. It's crazy. It's crazy to me, and it's just so there's so much crazy stuff, so much crazy stuff. It's just wild. Just wild. Chris sends in $5. Thank you, Chris. Getting one in at the buzzer. Says, thoughts on bringing your kitty Veda in for a few minutes now and again. Make her YouTube famous and give her a voice and hear her view on topics discussed. I've thought about it. The thing with Veda is she's very, she's persnickety. So she's very loving, very social. She's very chatty, but she's persnickety. She doesn't like to be, she likes her cuddles, but it has to be on her time, and so if I were to go pick her up right now, she's like, if I was to hold her, she'd kind of be like, she's not in the mood. She's got to be in the mood. So getting her in on a live stream, just kind of out of the blue, probably not going to happen. Every now and then you'll see the door behind me kind of open ajar, and that's because she's entered. But she usually leaves pretty quick after she realizes my attention is here at the computer. But I have thought about shooting some YouTube videos when she's in the right mood and posting them online of her. Yes, I have thought about doing that. So, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. There's still time. She's only 9, so hopefully she can live another 10 years. She is an indoor cat, so that's good. But her birthday's December 20th, I think. So it's like the winter solstice, or, the winter solstice. Yeah, I think that's what you say. Anyway. Yeah, it's the spring equinox and the winter solstice. Yeah. So she's a winter solstice cat, and she'll be 10. But you know what? She's in good shape. She's healthy. So hopefully, why can't these animals live to 80 like tortoises? I don't know. It just sucks that our dogs and cats have relatively short lives. But she's healthy. She's 9. So hopefully I can get another 10 years with her. And so, yeah, I have thought about it. But we'll see. But she can be quite persnickety. Quite persnickety. All right, folks, listen, that is going to do it for me here on this Sunday Q&A, this live stream. I just, had some time this afternoon. Thought I would jump on and chat with you all and see what you all are talking about. And like I said, thank you for bearing with me with my, 3 or 4 soapbox rants that I, not ranting about a soapbox. I mean, that'd be ironic. Getting on my soapbox and ranting about some of the crazy things that we see online nowadays. I appreciate your patience, very much so. But yeah, hey, jump into the comment section and let me know how you're doing and what you're excited about seeing, or anything that we talked about here on the stream. I will be back very soon with a McRae Live, because the Exorcist trailer is no doubt going to release officially. I know it has been leaked, and I have seen the leaked version, but I want to wait until it releases officially so I can see all the, I can see it in all of its, probably HD glory. I just want to be able to see it the way it was meant to be seen. And then I will no doubt do a McRae Live where we can talk about it and discuss it and give our thoughts on it and whatnot. That might be the next time you see me go live if it releases like tomorrow or something. So I don't know. So yeah, thanks to all the super chat questions that came in today, of course. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to my moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. Really appreciate you guys doing that as well. And don't forget, the It's Me Billy Chapter 2 campaign is in demand, and all the perks are still available. So if you haven't picked up your Blu-rays yet, the link is in the description. Head over there and pick up your Blu-rays while you still can. And again, the closer and closer we can get to that 550 units sold, I will do that epic Halloween stream on October the 28th. But if we don't get there, if we can sell out the last remaining associate producer perks. There's 2 associate producer perks remaining. I would love to sell those. That would be great. And maybe an executive producer perk. If we can get those going, maybe it wouldn't matter if we got to 550. I might just do that thing anyway. You never know. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just saying, folks, just saying. But yeah, the link to the It's Me Billy Chapter 2 campaign now in demand. It is in the description. Check that out. Check it out when you can. And check out all my links when you can. There they are. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They're all in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. That's going to do it for me. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you all soon. All righty. Cheers.